because that means I'd be old, right? I guess I'll just graduate from the young versions to just the versions
There you go.
one day. But yeah.
Careful, mate. I can smell fear.
You have two options: fight for your freedom or rot in this cell.
I can get you out of here.
Hello, Fight fans.
Leo, what's going on, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Well, looks like you're in much better surroundings. You escaped the prisons. You made it
Thank
through.
God.
So, better, off to better things now, huh?
Yeah, bigger and better things. I got out. Shocker. Yeah.
Man, I'll say what. It gave me an old school feeling. I was thinking about movies like Kickboxer and Never Back Down, which is now almost like 15, 20 years ago. Those
Yeah.
sort of movies. You don't get movies like this often enough, I feel like. It's a nice touch to the past.
It really is. And that was something that Shannon McIntosh and Dan Gross and Ryan Yeager really wanted to do on these films is bring back something that you don't see as much anymore. These sort of action, you could call them kung fu movies, or just these kind of this style of action movie, these blood sport, blood and bone.
Jean-Claude Van Damme style. That was late 80s, early 90s. That was the rage. Like that was what was like huge in movies and everything.
Exactly. And so this is sort of what I would say is like the more modern interpretation of that. And yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's modern when it's being televised and filmed for an audience, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Those
They're
fights
talking about
in the 80s would have been, no one would have known except the locals.
exactly the streaming it on this Fight for Freedom app. And yeah, it's just, you're right. That's the twist to the movie. Yeah.
Absolutely. Where'd you guys film it? I'm curious.
We shot it in Bangkok, Thailand, and in and around that area. So that was a really cool experience. And we shot it in a real prison that was abandoned in Chonburi, Thailand. And that was gnarly. That was really easy to just get into the scenes on the day because we are in a real prison. So yeah, it was.
Got any prison stories? Like literally the prison itself.
It was a prison. Yeah, it was abandoned, and yeah, I mean, I would explore a little bit in between. I'd kind of walk around, and it's dark, man. It's you got to wonder. It's an abandoned prison, so why did it close down? Why, there's a lot of questions, and it's spooky. There's no question about it, and artistically, it adds something. I feel like the prison is its own character in the script. Yeah. It serves such an intense purpose for this story. And on the day, it really does have an energy to it. When you walk in there, you're like, ooh, this is heavy. There's something going on here. So,
yeah, I can only imagine for you as an actor, it's different than going on a soundstage in LA. You're making it's like actually an element.
It's a lot easier. It's more practical. You're just there, right? I get thrown into a prison by, these guards. It's really easy to just get into these circumstances because it's pretty real,
Hey, your fighting looks good, man. Is it good choreography training, or have you done it yourself? Because it seems like you might have done this before.
Yeah, I've done martial arts pretty much my whole life. That's been acting and martial arts are just things that I've always pursued that have made me a very happy person in my life. So martial arts is very near and dear to my heart. And here comes along a film where I get to utilize that asset that I've worked hard to create. So it's cool getting to show that off and do something like this for sure.
So I wonder, when you've grown up with this, done this for real for all these years, and you have training, what is it like to apply it to a film where it's more choreography? You're not really trying to make much of physical content. It's almost like a dance, but you need to make it look so real. How do you adjust at it and kind of turn it off in a sense, of what is real, and then to make it look real, but also heavily choreographed for the camera? I'm interested in that aspect.
It's a good question because it's very different. I've seen a lot of professional fighters that struggle to do choreography because, in a real fight, you are trying to be efficient. and you don't want people to see what you're doing. You want it to be quick and powerful. And when you're fighting on screen, you want the audience to see it. You need the camera to see it. So you end up telegraphing a lot more, and it's a totally different dynamic. I was fortunate that I've been fighting on screen, doing action scenes for a long time. I was in a bunch of films when I was a kid that I did fights. I was in G.I. Joe, I was in Conan the Barbarian, and then I did a show for about 4 years called Kicking It, where we had fights every episode of the show. So I really kind of came up in that way, and I was very lucky to have that experience because it definitely served a purpose on this film. But you're right, it's very different from real fighting versus pretend fighting.
Yeah, especially someone who's done it and has years of experience. Kind of it's in you. But now you have to apply it differently. All you've learned.
Real fighting is not pretty. It doesn't look good. It's messy.
Yeah.
Brawl. It's a mess. So it ends up being closer to dance. Really, it becomes sort of a choreographed dance number. Is the closest thing I would use to describe it, where we're just hitting each other.
There you go. But it helps having someone like Caity on here because she's done it too. She's done the choreography for, the CW universe, the DC universe with Flash and Arrow and all those things she's done. So was it easier to have someone there alongside you to kind of that knows the drill in a sense and is not learning this for the first time or ever doing it?
Yeah, it did. We trained together we had like 3 weeks before we started shooting where all we did was learn the fights and perfect them and just work on these techniques to make them look good for the film and all that good stuff. And it was her and I. She'd work with the one stunt team. I'd work with the other stunt team in the same place, learning all of our fights, and we'd switch. And so, misery loves company, right? So it was a tough shoot. So it's really nice to just have somebody else going through it with you. And she was a trooper about it. She's tough as nails. I am so proud of what she did because she's not experienced in Muay Thai or anything like that. She comes from dance. So I thought she brought it. She did a really great job.
How, for a real trained fighter, how tough and exhausting is the choreography? Because, we see so many cool action movies, we sit in a theater, whatnot, watch, and you see all these moves, but tell me how much work goes into this and how exhausting does it really get? And how long are these sort of days when you're learning this stuff, especially in a heavy choreographed, fight movie like this, where there's tons of fighting going on?
Definitely. Just depends on the fight. We had some pretty long fights for this. So it's a combination of some physical sort of stress because what we would do is we learn the choreography and we get to the point to where we can really do it full intensity, full power and all that. And then we would shoot what's called a previs. We would shoot it the way the stunt coordinator saw it, Sang Kawi, who was awesome. We would shoot the whole fight and present it to the director and the producers, and they would say, oh, we like this or we don't like that. And so then we go back to the drawing board. We'd kind of tweak it a little bit. Well, we didn't like that moment. We need a little more story. So it was just kind of this tweaking process in rehearsal. And so you want to deliver a good previs to them, because if you are happy about the fight, which a lot of it I want to make it look good so that we can shoot that on the day. So quite intense. And Thailand is a hot place, as you've probably guessed. So yeah, it was pretty hard, but nothing crazy out of the ordinary for me. I'm used to getting beat up. Yeah. So
and any injuries or any bruises and bumps you sustained on this?
Not by this, but I have lots of injuries. I've done Brazilian jiu-jitsu for a long time, and it's all grappling stuff. And no one gets out alive in jiu-jitsu. It's just everyone deals with some sort of perpetual injuries. So, small stuff. I'm currently dealing with a bit of a tweaked neck. So, yeah, it's just always something. But hey, if you want to do combat sports, that is unfortunately something that comes along with it. So
much respected. Are you a fan of the game? Do you watch UFC and MMA, or do you follow that closely too?
Yeah, not so much. Not a ton the last couple years. Everyone's so good. It's crazy. But over my life, I've been a big fan. Yeah, for sure.
Any other hobbies? I mean, this has been sort of a life discipline to you now that you get to add to the screen. But when you're not fighting for real or choreographing fights and being just on screen in general, what sort of things you're into or like to do?
Yeah, I'm kind of all over the map. I'm quirky in a lot of ways. Like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is something I do a lot in my off time. I'm a musician. I love playing guitar.
Nice.
I you know, acting is my craft, but I also really enjoy it. I go to acting class. I really enjoy sort of chipping away at that and getting better in that regard. And so also to become, you know, work on the craft as an actor, it involves a lot of other things, you know, reading, just experiencing life, which sounds so cheesy, but it's true. Just living life and reading and writing and just kind of pursuing all things art. I paint, just things like that. Yeah.
That's cool, because I feel like in order to be a really good actor, you need to have a fulfilling life of adventures and experiences, you know, to bring into your characters and roles.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I think there's a misconception that like only good acting comes from just being a miserable, like traumatized person. And
No.
I don't think that's necessarily true, or it doesn't have to be true. I think that good performances can come from just a deep understanding of life rather than, you know, lived experience.
100%. As I let you go, do you want to stay sort of in this genre? Do you enjoy it? I mean, it's kind of natural for you in that sense because you've done it in real life, or do you want to just do like a romantic drama or something? Like what's something you want to accomplish in the acting world next?
I couldn't pick one out. I enjoy working. I enjoy the times that I read a script and I go, oh, I get this, or like, oh, I really understand this character. Oh, this something about this is familiar to me. Like those things I enjoy. So it kind of doesn't matter the genre. I really like to do things that I can connect with in some way, shape, or form. And those are typically the ones that we're right for. The ones you read and you're just like, ah, I know what this is. So whatever those projects are, I like that.
There you go. You're staying open to it. You know, it's kind of funny in a way that you came up playing such like big iconic characters, a young version of them, Snake Eyes, Conan. You know, are you done with the young version of iconic
Well,
character?
I hope not.
Grow out of it.
Because that means I'd be old, right? I guess I'll just graduate from the young versions to just the versions.
There you go.
One day, but yeah.
It was just always funny, but now seeing you in this, like, yeah, he's graduated, watching you in something like this, you know. I doubt
like,
those younger version roles might not be coming around much.
Like the guy, they're like, hey, bring in the kid that plays the young versions of everyone. Like, all right, we got him right here.
He's aged a bit, but hey, this was fun, man. Like I said, I grew up on the genre in a sense as a kid. You should actually watch Bloodsport and all these sort of things, but
yeah,
that's what the rage was, and it's cool to see sort of movies like that come back because there's an appetite for it, and you know that's a genre that's sort of disappeared over the years, but it's been a really cool one, and it's cool to see sort of be in maybe the process of bringing back.
I agree. I think it disappeared because as audiences get smarter, they like to see story and that, and not that those didn't have story, but just it's a different world, right? It's people see fights all the time, and so when they see fights on camera, they got to be much higher quality. And so yeah, this is just an attempt at sort of adapting to the new age, I think.
Well done. I was entertained. Both of you kicked ass literally. So keep on doing fun work, man. It's good to talk to you finally.
Appreciate you. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, take care, Leo.